to me, what's fascinating though is that we are made out of stardust, literally.
Oh, tell me about that.
Yeah, this is what we are.
Are we one? Are we infinite? Are we temporary?
All right. Well, our guest tonight is Pierre Perifel, an incredible director of The Bad Guys 1 and 2, and previously an animator with a resume that will dazzle everybody, everything from Shrek to Kung Fu Panda to, I don't know, so many million other things that you might want to mention. But really, I know you personally. When I first met you, you really struck me as an incredible human being, someone with a deep soul. And I just really wanted to... Actually, in watching your films, I felt that deep soul as well, by the way. Let's just start right here with The Bad Guys 2. I just love how part of the story in this is that group of people who tried to come with redemption because they were criminals and now they're trying for a second chance to make it straight. And the world is shutting them down. No one wants to give them the opportunities. And I imagine, like, in real life, obviously, this is a real issue for a lot of people. And I felt like that aspect of the storytelling, right from the very beginning of the movie, which is a animated, fun film, I really felt that aspect of that struggle for the characters and that soul. So, in any event, I just wanted you to talk us through your journey from beginning to end and how you think about what you do, and you can start wherever you like.
Thanks, Reza. First, thank you for having me, man. Very excited to be here and very excited that you're doing this. I'm, a big fan of yours as well, and so very pleased that we can talk about creative process and our journeys and so on. Well, that's very kind of you just to say that old soul ideas that you're talking about when you watch The Bad Guys, which is like it's like a cartoon with a piranha farting in space, but that's fine. I appreciate it, and you're right. Actually, I think I tried to not think of it or talk down to the audience, and particularly young audience, because those films are usually family movies, and I'm trying to just make sure that there is something that speaks to them, that is like levity and fun and cute and all of that stuff. But there's also behind it a message that is a bit deeper, that also speaks to the adults. And we do a lot of references to cinema and movies that I love and stories that I love that are also like, how I grew up and what struck me as I was like a teenager and younger adult. And I love that in animated films, in family movies, we can just have that layering of storytelling. And I think that's what you're referring to a little bit. You're right. In this film, of course, there's the journey of the characters, and of course, there's action, and of course, there's like fun stuff to do. But at the core of it is really a story of reinsertion into society from a bunch of ex-cons that spend time in prison and nobody believes them. So there's a deeper societal subject there that we're trying to embed into the story very subtly, but it's there. It's something that we did it, or I did it on purpose, so that we can talk about things that are rarely talked about in animation, for sure. I mean, like, honestly, like an idea, like the story about reinsertion after a prison time is like incredibly rare in our medium. But I was very excited about it because it was a bit of a challenge, and also because I know that it talks to, obviously, to ex-cons who could watch this film, which I don't know how many did that, but like definitely the idea that you're being looked at as different and as flawed and as, because you did something wrong in your past, you've tried to be better, get better, you come out, you've paid your dues, and people still haven't really changed their point of view about you, right? And that's something that happened to all of us. We make mistake, and then you outgrew your mistake. You understood them. You look for forgiveness and all of that. And but it doesn't mean like everybody has understood the journey you've been in, right, or you've been through. And I think that's something I wanted to talk about a little bit. Even as a kid, you just make a mistake and you end up at school in the principal's office and you think you're a horrible person, but it's not true. Like, it really is not true. You just made a mistake. That's it, and I think that's what we wanted to talk about a little bit. So in that sense, thank you for the old soul lady. But that's true that it's something that just to me kind of resonates. It's tapping into something that's a bit deeper than just like the surface level of what animation can bring you sometimes, And that's what is so fun about making those films, As far as the journey, I'm French, and never thought I would direct movies in Hollywood ever. But again, like, incredibly grateful for the journey, incredibly grateful for the opportunity that I have to be able to do that nowadays or today, and to all the opportunity and all the great people that I got to meet along the way. It's been quite an amazing journey again, and I've learned so much along the way, and so much that I still want to learn. It's been quite fantastic.
Real quick, I just want to say, actually, I got two questions for you. Okay, the first one, I was just like going back to what you were saying about, trying to put that sort of soul into the animation, and whatever. Is that something that you talked about openly with your team, or is that just some secret sauce that you were working on yourself?
I think definitely deep down is something that I really want to talk about, like, in the sense of, I don't want to make a movie that's meaningless. Like, we spend so much time making these films, like literally 3 to 4 year journeys. Wow. Making these movies. It takes so much people, so much effort, so much money, so much all of it, that if it's an empty shell, it just doesn't interest me. I think, I mean, you know what it is, right? When you're just throwing your soul into a project, you want to make sure that you have an anchor there that is like that you can sustain for years and years, or month and month and months, like that feeds your energy, right? And I think that's what it is. It's like, if what we're talking about, wrapped in fun stuff, deep down is a kernel of like truth. That's what cinema is, right? That's what Truffaut says. It's like truth and spectacle. That's what it is, right? So I think that's what we're trying to do, like, in a little bit. Like, it's like, what's the truth there? Like, what's the core of those characters, what their journey and what they're going through, that like we all understand at a very like deep level. That's the truth. And I think looking for that is key. But then not making such a big deal that then you're just stuck with it and you don't even dare to move out of that. Like, you need to be able to be flexible and play with it. It's like, looking for meaning as an artist is definitely like primordial and key, but at the same time, at the end of the day, the audience is going to give their own meaning to it. They're going to project what they think it is, right? It's not going to be up to you to decide what they're going to think about what you did, right? So, and it's true for any art, I guess. But so yes, so that deeper thing was come from me, but I think the entire team was totally aware of that and totally up for it. Like, I think all of us are adults with very kind souls too, and then very excited to tell a story that was deeper than what it appeared to be.
Something I've actually noticed a lot in animated films, including not just animated films, but I noticed it especially also when I saw Planet of the Apes.
Yeah,
is that it seems like we are able to tell more emotional stories about the human experience when we're not looking at human actors.
Oh, interesting.
It's almost like there's a level of emotional depth that movies are scared to cross. Especially the second one, where there was like did you see it? The second one?
Of course.
There was sort of like the other ape who was sort
Baba.
of, what's his name?
Baba, like the villain.
The villain.
Yeah, it was like
the scar, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, he was a villain, but
Baba,
he was kind of like Magneto in that he wasn't like a full-on villain.
No.
He kind of had a purpose,
Of course.
and he felt that like the humans were going to be the demise of the apes, and he felt like that Caesar was like leading them to that destruction.
Yeah.
I felt the emotional tear of the relationship between, I think is Koba was his name?
Koba. No,
Koba.
Koba.
Between,
That's right. Koba.
Between Koba and Caesar, the divide of that friendship, going from a friendship to like
Pure enemy. Like
pure enemy.
Yeah.
I felt that tear my heart up way more than I ever felt that watching human beings tell that same story.
You know what's so interesting about this is like, because I love that trilogy. I'm like you, by the way. I absolutely loved it because I think part of it is that animation and CG imagery, like, again, they're apes, right? Apes don't behave like that, real apes.
Right.
This is like, animation is the same thing. Like, those are not real humans. Those are not real animals. Those are like animals in a suit or animals like... So you're projecting, you're already like stylizing, you're simplifying, and you're going to the essence of humanity there. You're just like weeding out all the small details and nuances and whatever that we have in live action when you're really looking at a human face, right? And also you're just allowing yourself, I think, to not see yourself. You're just like you're safer by looking at, oh, this is a wolf, this is a cartoon, this is an ape that's made out of CG. Apes don't move like this. It's not me. But I can project whatever I want, so therefore I'm safe there. They are experiencing this, and I'm feeling the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, as opposed to like, this is an actress or an actor, and then, oh, that person is exactly like me, and just, is it safe for me to just feel what they feel? You know, I think there's some of that. That's what animation does really well. In the case of the Koba-Caesar relationship, I think what make great villains is like they always are a part of the hero, right?
Right.
They are a little bit of the shadow part of the hero, right? And that's what he is. He's like, he is what Caesar would be if Caesar didn't have boundaries. If Caesar didn't have self-control. If Caesar let himself go, he would be as angry as Koba and just go what he does and do what he does, right? And Koba, but what's so cool about what they've done is that even at their fiercest battle, they love each other in a way. You know, they're like, he's his brother and you're my brother. And sure, we're torn apart, but there's still that bond. There's like, it breaks Caesar's heart. And even Koba is like, you don't understand me. Like, and I love that because that's so human, right? You're like, you understand the other. There's still empathy, even though you're just so driven by your ideals and your obsessions, right? Which is what Koba is doing, right? But he still respects Caesar. He still sees Caesar for his former brother in arms, kind of thing. Yeah? And it rings so true in a way, right?
Yeah, right. Seriously.
And again, the canvas on which it's played out is so epic that you're like engaged as an audience. You're engaged into this. You're seeing these guys, you know, trying to lead a full revolution, just lead their people to become like their own thing. You want them to succeed, so you're so engaged with them, right? I think a villain is always better when they have such a good reason to be what they are, you know, and they never see they have such a like their past and all their acquired experiences is telling them I need to be this way or I am this way, so I'm justified to be this way, even though what their actions are flawed, like big time flawed, and therefore they're doing bad things. But you understand them because it's like it speaks to you as a human person, right? As your humanity, you understand why they're doing this. You know, I think it's the best villains you can have. And that's the same thing in Black Panther, you know. It's like you understand why he's doing this, and yet he's incredibly cruel.
Yeah, I mean, I love that film and I love that narrative in Black Panther, and I also love the Magneto Professor X.
Yeah.
It's the same concept.
It's the same concept. Yeah.
It's the same concept. I think all those movies are great. Like they're really fantastic. What I feel is that, like, especially in X-Men, I feel that, and by the way, again, I love this film, so it's not a critique. It's just more like I'm feeling it more intellectually, but when I see it with Planet of the Apes, I felt it deep in my
Deep
heart.
in your heart, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and I've wondered that. Like I've also noticed that in other animated
Right,
films
Right.
that's, you know, Wall-E was an amazing story, you know, and like I just feel like a lot of animated movies somehow tap into emotions that like live action films sometimes don't,
Yeah.
because they I don't know, are focused so much on plot moving fast, and like I feel like storytelling points sort of sometimes eclipse
Emotion.
emotion,
Right, or character journey.
a little bit, whereas in animation somehow there's more space. I don't know how it works,
Yeah.
but it's like
I don't really know why
yeah,
and how. Maybe it is like for this same type of films. Maybe I don't know. Like I just like watch Hamlet recently, and I was like transported. You know, it's just like I felt all the emotions and I felt all the things. You know, it was like so powerful. So I think it sometimes depends on the films too. There's something about animation, to your point, yeah, that is. It might be also part of the process. We spend so much time refining our story before we actually shoot the story, right? In animation, the process is you write your script like in live action, but then you do your entire movie in storyboard, and then you cut those storyboards together and edit them together, like you create an animatic, which already gives you a very precise version of the story. And yes, it's not colored, it's not animated, but you have an idea of what this story is on screen, right? And then you refine that version and refine it until you're like, this is pretty solid. And then you bring the actors and they do the voices, and then you start, using cameras. We call that previs and layout, right? Pre-visualization and layout. And then you start animating and you add all the layers of cool visuals and whatnot. So your story is strong before you even start shooting. Whereas in live action, you shoot from a script, and a script to a screen it's a massive jump. And so I think, that you have a script, and then you start shooting, and then you have your first unit, and then second unit, and then you have your director and director of the second unit, and you have this and and your actors that are available and and then you cut your film. And sometimes you don't find it. Sometimes it's much harder than you'd think, and sometimes your movie wants to be something else, and then all of a sudden, those big films, you also have like 300 executive producers who want to say and chime in. So you can lose yourself sometimes, I guess. But I think at the core of animation is like the desire to tell stories that are like maybe just a bit more universal, in the sense of, because we have a mandate, right? And I'm talking about like animation in general, which is 95% family oriented, right? Family movies. You're trying to hit a theme. You're trying to just talk to everybody. You're trying to and so I think it really resonates on a deeper level. Maybe
yeah.
it might be that too.
Okay, so bouncing on from there, rewinding back to what I was going to ask you about resonating. So at what point in your life did you realize that this is something you wanted to do? How did it resonate? How did this whole thing happen for you? From the very beginning?
From the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like I come from, small town in France, Burgundy. And and then I, on national TV one night, they do a documentary-ish, kind of like a little program on an animation school in Paris called Gobelin. And some students from Gobelin who are now part of a new studio in LA called Dreamworks that just had started,
Wow.
just a couple of years ago. And they're about to release a movie called Prince of Egypt. And Prince of Egypt has all these French artists that work for it. And they were showing stuff. And I was like, sorry, what is this now? That people are just being paid to make characters move on paper, and they draw characters and they're moving. It's like, are you serious right now? This is like cinema. And I had no idea that people would actually be paid to do this. At the same time, Disney releases a movie called Tarzan. And Tarzan, the specificity of Tarzan is that the main character is animated by a legendary animator from Disney called Glenn Keane. And Glenn, and Disney had a studio in Paris, with a small team in Paris. And Glenn, who's in love with France, decides to go spend a few years in France and animate his character, his scenes in Paris, train these Paris animators and train them to just animate this character of Tarzan, main character. And so the movie's finished, about to release, same year as The Prince of Egypt, or more or less. What I remember is Disney France, Disney Marketing France, because Glenn is there, decides to just make a little bit of a promo around that and releases all their kind of like the promo around Tarzan to be his sketches and the sketches of the animators there, and show that to the public in the you go to like AMC, and in the AMC main hall you have all the, imagine, not instead of finished pictures, it's like work in progress of sketches of Tarzan surfing into the branches, and it's like just paper drawings, like graphite on drawing on paper, and it's moving, and it's like unbelievable, like unreal. And I'm like, this is magic, like literally magic. You have one drawing, then put another piece of paper, one other drawing, and obviously he's a master. So, and I was like mesmerized in front of this, and just I decided to go from France to see Tarzan, and I spent like half an hour in the hallways of the cinema, like mesmerized, seeing that loop over and over and over. And I was like, I want to do that. Like, that's just pure magic. So between that documentary that French people could do it, and there's a school in France that does it, trains you to do that. But in order to get in that school, you have to do an exam, entrance exam, and that very selective. So I think at the time they were taking 25 people out of 1,000 or something like that. Very, very selective. But I want to see how it is, And so I do the thing. We're all like 1,000 people in a big like warehouse somewhere in Paris, and I'm like, holy crap, this is huge. And then the person next to me draws perfectly well, and the other one, same thing. And I'm like, I don't know how to draw anything well. So of course I don't even pass the first step, but I'm like, now I know what it feels like, and I tell my mother, I want to study drawing. I want to study classical training on how to draw well. And there is a great school in Lyon. We were in Lyon at the time. In Lyon, that is like really good at training you for like classical painting, anatomy, perspective, like illustration and graphic novels and all this stuff, like really good at that, just pure traditional technique. And so, yeah, for a few years I was there, loved that so much, got so many good friends there. And then tried the exam entrance for Gobelin again, got in, spent 3 years there, same thing, was fantastic, but it was much more specific to animation. And then I did an end of thesis film. We were already kind of blending like traditional animation and CG animation pretty well. And so some studios here were like, hang on, what are these students doing there? So we kind of went on their radar. And then because Dreamworks had a really good connection with the school, they kind of like contacted me and a friend who worked on the film, and just, do you guys want to come over? And so I couldn't go quite yet because, first of all, I wanted to do traditional animation, and Dreamworks was only CG. So I wanted to train that. So I knew if I were to come here right away, I would not have the opportunity to train as a traditional animator with professional animators, right? And also, at the time, I was with my now ex-wife, but we were about to have a baby, so we were not going to move and have a baby here in the US without knowing anything, so it made no sense. So with our daughter, and then a few years later, as we came in vacation here, the studio was like, yeah, we know you, we still haven't, if you want to come. And then we started thinking, and then we decided to come over and just expat life and all of that stuff. But it really was coming here as an animator and just trained to be a CG animator, and trained with some of the best animators in the world too, by the way. Like Dreamworks has some of great talents. And so arrived there, and there's just like, whoa, that was also like a big learning curve too. On top of learning like to speak English properly and
oh wow, you didn't speak English?
No,
yet.
I did, but it was kind of like really good high school level kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Enough to be able to go around, but not like, I was so tired the first few months. It was so tiring to just follow everything. Everything was of course in English, but it was so tiring to be able to just like focus on every conversations and do your job at the same time and answer back, and like, oof, that was very intense. And also, like, as you know, I mean, like, you're expat too, just like discovering the life here, and just, it's like a different way of doing things and and organizing yourself. So took a year, I guess, to kind of feel like, okay, I got my footing here in LA, you know.
How much of what you did was like technical training, and how much of it was like tapping into like inspiration, and how do those things work together for you?
I think as a student, now in retrospective, I feel like I was so much more about technique. And it's very technical craft. It's a very technical craft as well as drawing. So I think until you kind of know a little bit, like, you know, just you get better at it, it's hard to be able to express yourself. That's what I'm feeling. Or I was too shy to be able to just say, I have a voice, I have something to say. By the way, that lasted long. I think for a long, long time, I didn't think I really had anything to say.
When did that start for you?
I think it happened later, way later, probably like 2017 or 2018, like almost 10 to 12 years later. And I was directing a short film called Burgundy, and I had so much fun doing it. And I ended up boarding the thing, which I hadn't done storyboard in years, and just like it came just so easy. And I was like, oh my God, just like, I know how to do this. Of course I know. And I know how to shoot this, and I know how to put my camera there, and I can do this, and making me emote like that. And I was like, of course. So I think it became the sum of all that work that just now became a language that allowed me to speak, you know what I mean? Whereas before that, I was learning the language.
Yeah.
And I was not able I was not good enough to be able to say things that made sense. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
It was like, I was very much embedded, like taken into the technique of learning, until I got later on liberated with all of that and just be like, let's just do stuff that's fun and express myself, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, there's like a scene I really love in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, where he first starts discovering his powers, and he's practicing them, and then it's like a montage where he starts getting good at it, and then he's just like getting really cocky and starts doing all the crazy stuff, you know. And I think
that's the best part of Spider-Man, isn't it?
Yeah, right, exactly. But it's like I've had a similar sort of journey with music, where it's like, you know, there's moments where it's like really tapping into the craft, and then there's this moment where you're just like, oh, I know this now, I can play, you know. And then when you get there, it's just like, I don't know what it's like for you, but for me, when I get to that moment of playing music, it's like such a mix of, it's just like it's flowing through me. It's like I don't even think, and then I feel like I'm accessing something, you know?
Yeah, it's exactly that. It comes naturally. You don't even think necessarily, and you don't even care whether it's technically perfect or not. You know what I mean? Like, by the way, your base level is so high already that it is like quite good technically. I mean, like usually for most people, it's like if you're very fluent and really good at your craft, right? Then it becomes second nature. So you don't even think about it, because for a long time it was like, I want to draw, like, let me draw this. Oh my God, that drawing sucks. You know, I don't have the right deltoid shape, and my hand and my wrist is like shitty, and I'm like, now I'm like, who cares? Like, who cares whether or not it's like, does this drawing expresses an idea, a concept, a story? And that's all that matters, right? Like, the technique itself can be given to somebody else to clean it up for you, whatever, but like the message behind it is yours, right? And I think that's what you're talking about. Like, you liberate yourself from the technique of doing things, and you still know how to do it really well, actually, but like you don't even think about it as much as, all right, what is the idea I'm trying to communicate? And then it flows through you. To your point, you're like, oh, I'm trying to get to the bottom of this as fast as I can, and just be able to express that.
So what's happening for you when that happens? Like, to be more specific, I mean, like, when you start tapping into that zone where you're like in flow state and stuff is just coming. Yeah. Like, I've heard some people say, like I heard Noel Gallagher say, you know, the Oasis
of course,
songwriter, that he felt like, you know, like he didn't write any of those songs. He felt like those songs actually exist.
They're given to him.
Yeah, well, they already exist in some other part of the universe. Yeah. And he just somehow tapped into it.
Idea.
I
love that idea.
I love it too.
Because it makes it so much less scary. It makes it so much less about the idea exists somewhere. It's just up to you just to be a funnel for like an antenna, and just try to just like capture this. And it doesn't make it about you. The idea is somewhere, right? But it makes it just means that you need to listen, or like be aware, and just like find a way for you to just capture it, as opposed to I don't have any idea and then I suck, and then I'm, you know what I mean? Like that's why it just like it alleviates the pressure so much when you think that way. I think it's a great way to express this, and I think I think it's right. I think there's something about where, like, to me, I love to be able to, when I'm stuck, I was just like, all right, let me stop, because a lot of my job is like responding and reacting, and but if you slow down, just quiet yourself, like go to a place where it's just you, and close your eyes, deep breath. Okay, what's the problem I'm trying to solve right now? Almost meditate a little bit on it. It comes really quickly, and it's because you're putting yourself in a state of being an antenna, being able to capture that idea or just solve an issue by being, by listening, basically, by tapping into source, kind of thing, right? That's the idea. So it depends. It depends what it is. Like sometimes it's like I need to kick it into gear usually. So I would just start like, all right, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to just tackle this sequence, or I'm trying to tackle that drawing or an illustration or whatever. For me, it doesn't come like this, where it's like, oh, of course I know what I'm doing. Done. I need to start sketching a little bit, and as I'm sketching, it's slowly taking shape, and I'm like, oh, that could lead to this and this and this, and just now I have an idea, right? So that I need to do that when I don't know exactly where I'm going. If I know where I'm going, usually I need to go through almost kind of a writing phase more, I think, where I need to put it down on either on my phone, on a note, something, and like just a few words that's like, this is what I'm trying to say. Oftentimes what it does is like I put my idea on paper, and now I'm like, I don't need to do anything with this, so I'm just gonna go to which sometimes I'm like, come on dude, like keep going, but like, because it's like ideas are coming constantly, where like I can't serve all of them. There's too many, right? The cool thing that I think I noticed recently is like ideas are never there's never a lack of idea.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's always, you'd think that you'd go to the bottom of the barrel, scrap everything you have, and then it's empty. It's not the case. I think it's like you can just keep going, and it's infinite. There's always going to be more to explore. I think that's so cool to know that. Like at some point you're like, oh, I got a great idea. Am I ever going to have another great idea like this? And you have like 300 more, and you're like, great, perfect. But it took me a long time to be confident to think that way, to be like, oh no, there's so many more. Like it feels like the last thing you did is the best thing you ever do, but it's not just one thing you did. That's it. And the next one is coming, and it's going to be as good. It's going to be different. It's going to be as good as the previous one. None of them are going to be better than the other. It's just going to be an expression of yourself. One moment of you in your life at this point, and then the next time is going to be a slightly different moment, because you've learned so much in between, because you've grown, because you're different, because because you're expressing another part of yourself. Bad Guys is one part of me. I'm working on a project or Bilby, the short film I did before that, is completely different part of me, and I'm equally happy with both. It's like I'm so proud of both. One is like a double feature, and the other one is a short film of 9 minutes, and yet I love them as much. Maybe I love Bad Guys a bit more because it's so much more work, but Bilby is representing the beginning of some crazy journey for me as well. So there's so much there that in time is so important as well. I'm so proud of it too. But each project, each new thing you create could be completely different and yet still be you, and it's okay. I think sometimes you're like, no, I want to, and other. By the way, external voices will tell you, no, you're this or you're that. And you know it because you just made me listen to your music. And it's like, it's exactly what you're talking about. You're like, oh, 3 albums, but I'm making sure it feels like a progression so people don't get lost when they know me, you know. I'm starting with something closer to what they know, and then, which is very interesting because it's what we're talking about. All of them are you.
Yeah,
right.
It's very interesting that, I mean, I really relate to everything you're saying.
Yeah.
And I also, when you were talking about Bilby, something that I feel like, you know, it's very common practice these days. People are journaling a lot, right?
Yeah.
And a few people have asked me, do you write a journal? And I don't.
Yeah, me neither.
Right. And not that I think anything low of it. I think it's great that people do it. But for me, my music is my journal.
Right.
And it's incredible for me. I don't know if you feel this way, but like when I listen to a song that I wrote 20 years ago, just literally listening to the first 2 seconds of it brings back all my memories of that period of my life. Everything that I was doing creatively, everything I was doing socially, everything I was doing, everything, like it just comes back. Right?
Yep, absolutely. You watch a shot that you, like I did as an animator years ago, and I'm like watching this, I was like, oh wow, that's where I was, this, yeah, absolutely.
And it's so random because like sometimes, for example, I mean, for me, it wouldn't be like a shot, but for me, it would be like maybe just something even so nerdy, like how I'm EQing a kick drum or how I'm like something like that, you know, where I spent like a long time doing it. And I remember that, like, for example, when I was EQing the kick drum on some song that I did, like, you know, 20 years ago, I remember at the time, you know, I had to pick up my daughter, or actually she wasn't born yet, but I maybe like not 20 years ago, but like I remember like I had to pick her up from her nursery school and then, you know, take her to a kid's birthday party, and I had to plan all that stuff. And I remember those thoughts going through my mind while I'm tweaking this kick drum, you know? So now when I hear that song, like
that's what you remember.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's wild, actually. Like, I mean, our brains work in such fascinating ways, you know, but like it's true that it is truly a part of yourself that you put in that work, right? It truly is like a little part of your soul that is like embedded in this. It's so interesting because I remember as an animator at Dreamworks, I was just like, I started as a junior animator, ended up before being a director, I ended up head of animation for movies, right? So the way it's structured is you have junior animators and you have your animators, and then you have lead animators that are like kind of like specific on specific characters, and then supervising animators that have a team of, you know, 6 to 10 people, and then the head of animation, which is like in charge of the entire department of animation and the rigging department and the character effects department. So big teams, right? And in charge of, you know, that pushing the style of animation, working with the directors. So big role, big job. And to get there, you need to be really, really experienced and strong animator, no question, and a leader and all this stuff. It doesn't matter, or I remember it did not matter whether I was a junior animator or head of animation, with all the team, you know, behind you, looking up to you, just to just be the leader of their leader, and the director with whom you have a very much more privileged relationship than anybody else, really. You know, I mean, in your team, no matter who I was or where I was in that ladder, I would show my shots in dailies. Dailies is basically every day we show, you know, the latest animation that our animators have done. I would show my shots, and when I was a junior, they were crap. When I was a head animation, they were much better, because now you have accumulated all these years of, and I would still feel that nut in my stomach as I was showing them, because it's a bit of me there that everybody's going to look at and judge and comment on and because like everybody's looking at those dailies, right? So it never leaves you. It never really leaves you. It's always there. It's like, and that's the thing that artists, it's the joy of being an artist, right? Is you have to put yourself out there, and very few people have that desire, that drive, that responsibility that we do, which is like, I'm giving you a little bit of me for you to look at, cherish, or hate, or whatever you want to, or reflect on, whatever it is. Just but so that in the hope that it would inspire a few people in there, just like make us as a human race evolve a little bit.
Exactly.
That's what it is, right? You're just like, that's how I see the world. And that's, I hope this inspires anybody else to maybe just look at my point of view or hate my point of view, which is equally fine. But it is like, I'm adding a little brick to the big construction of who we are as a human species, right?
Who was that for you?
What do you mean?
Like, who's the like what you were explaining that you
right?
You
well, so many people, I guess,
Yeah.
right? So many artists, like any. I mean, I guess when speaking of movies, I guess it's just. I mean, there's a lot. I'm gonna say the one that I've like probably like shaping, because I'm a child of the '90s, and weirdly, that period of years between 13 years old to 19, 20 years old is like such a your clay, right? At least for me, that's what I feel like. That's the inspiration that I remember, and so I was like, I dove into like graphic novels and comic books. And comics, we didn't really know that in France. We're not really into it, but graphic novels for sure, fan graphic novels. But then, I don't know, like Matrix, for instance, just like revolutionized my life. It was like, what is this thing? What is like graphic novels and cinema, and then what they're talking about so freaking deep, and it's shot this way, and it's Luc Besson's movie and Cameron's movie, and just like there was and Soderbergh and then Pixar showed up, and like every single one of those films just like, and that's why I love those films that are like somewhat big, some of them are huge movies, like very popular films, but they shape the culture, they shape the collective subconscious, And I love also the much more indie films that are like touch you like so deep, and you relate to them because in that moment in your life but books and paintings and all that stuff, same thing, like there's always something to take. And sometimes I'm like, I don't resonate with this, and that's fine too,
Yeah.
Obviously music is omnipresent, and then just crazy about music as well. It's funny because my parents never really listened to much music, interestingly. I didn't grow up with a family of music listeners. My dad was always listening to France Inter, which was like the news and just the radio basically. But they were not playing a lot of music. Actually, they were curating here and there, curating really good stuff, but it was not what he was interested in. He was not interested in that. They would listen to old school, French, good stuff, by the way, but like very limited range. And I was playing the violin for years. It's classical training kind of thing, right?
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I just never carried that on because the violin is very. It's very hard, first of all. Remember that. Second of all, it was like playing with, music sheet and playing classical stuff, right? In a way, like playing the piano or the guitar gives you so much more range and freedom in a way, right? So it kind of like was not conducive to me continuing. But what it did is like, for the longest time, I listened to a lot of classical music when I was younger.
Yeah.
Which none of my friends would listen to that. They were like, what are you doing, dude? They were listening to Guns N' Roses and Metallica and all this stuff. And I was like, I hate that stuff. And then slowly grew into it, I think it was like, for me, like kind of like early high school, where it's like Green Day showed up and The Offspring and Rage, and very much like punk rock and rock, love that. I just fell into this. And then soul music, and then French rock came a little later when I was more like in a art, that art kind of class that I was talking about, which was like a bit more like really good lyrics, French lyrics that were really that had deep meaning, sometimes political and whatnot, that I really could just wrap my head around. So you're in that age, late teens, where you're like, you want the world to be great, and you want, or you're rebelling against some kind of authority, I guess, right? And
Have you outgrown that, or are you still there?
Well, these days I'm definitely there.
I'm really there. Like I don't know.
But I'm right now. I'm like really trying to not. Like a few weeks ago, you'd ask me, I was just like, I was not great. I was like plugged into the news, and I can't. Like it's just like it becomes like. I would be depressed, like bad. Like I was like, dude, like I don't even know I don't want to do anything anymore. It's like, where are we going with this? You know, it's so bad. And then since then, I'm like, no more social media, no more news. Let me just live in my bubble and be happy, because it's like it's everywhere all the time. I was saying earlier to my kids that like in the span of like less than 10 years, right? We went through a worldwide pandemic with COVID that changed everything. The start of AI that is changing and will change everything. And the downfall of democracy in the US, which is going to have a massive impact in the years to come. And to me, like in this much time, we just went through massive changes. And for our like kids' age as well, it's like so intense, man. It's super intense. And we've never seen this. I've never had that in my life before. Like,
yeah, we grew up in a crazy time.
Perfect time.
Yeah.
80s, 90s, 2000s, early 2000s. Amazing.
Because it wasn't like that before, you know?
No.
I mean, I remember when I was a teenager, there were all these Vietnam movies. Remember, Platoon and
of course, Commando,
Full Metal Jacket. Yeah, exactly.
Predator, and
exactly. And it was like that was all before I was born. I didn't really know what it was.
No, exactly.
And I would watch it and I'd be like, wow, that seemed like so crazy. Like that happened in the world.
Apocalypse Now.
Right. And now it's like that doesn't seem that crazy anymore again. You know?
Which is insane to me. Like naively, it was like, yeah, we're so advanced now. This stuff is from the past. We can't go back there.
Right. I know. I think that all the time. I'm like, why is this? Why are we going backwards? Like
what's happening? Yeah,
I know.
Well, so in the last few weeks, I was like sucked into this spiral of like my Instagram feed would just be political debates and news and like messages from anybody desperate, you know, try to say, you know, we need to stop these guys and And I'm like, of course. And then you want like, but at the same time, you're like, you get sucked into it and just watching the same thing over and over and over and over until you're kind of hoping that they're gonna find a solution to, you know, get this guy to be stopped or whatever, and they will never. And then and I mean, not yet, at least, not until it's kind of like in the fall. Maybe we'll find something. Who knows? But we've tried years and years and years just to you know, to indict him, and nothing works. And you're like, and you still hope. We're still hoping, and it's so heartbreaking, you know. Anyway, this is the way I'm feeling right now. But I've stopped doing that because I'm like, it's just sucking me down in a just very dark hole, I think.
What you know, you said earlier that, you know, that you hope that, you know, what you're doing, what inspires you is to inspire other people, is to put some positive mark in the world. What is that for you? Like, besides just positivity, like, is there a specific interest of yours or a specific message that you have?
No, it's not. I don't think it's up to me just to necessarily send a message that is like specific. I think it's more up to the person who's going to see the work that I do to find something in there that will inspire them. Because it doesn't matter, right? You're going to experience something your way, and I'm going to experience the same thing my way, and they would be like vastly different. So chasing that, like I'm trying to make a point about this. Of course, you're going to guide in one direction, but it's interesting. Like so many people have come to explain my own movies to myself, and I'm like, whoa, that is so cool. I never thought, I never saw my movie this way. And I love it so much now that you're explaining, like, and by the way, you'd never say that. You're like, of course, that's exactly the way I intended to do it. But it's very interesting, right? Like you're just putting something out, and people react to one little piece of what you've done and just like take out a big meaning out of it, which is amazing because this is literally them projecting themselves into your work, or vice versa, whatever it is. But it is up to the person who's experiencing your art to project that meaning. I think it's beyond your responsibility at this point. You know, it would be too much power in my hands if I could do that. Now, what I love though is like one of many, you know, thing that happened, but one in particular just comes to mind, where I was like, we're in Annecy. Annecy is a big animation festival, right, in France. I mean, it's a town first, but then every year they
built a town around this.
Exactly, they hold a animation festival, and so that was last year. We're releasing the movie. We're not releasing the movie. We're just doing like a promo for the film prior to the release, kind of teasing it. But we had brought the art of book of the film, and we had a day where we'd sign the book, and people would line up and just come for a signature and whatnot. And one guy comes to me and he's like, "Can I just ask you to also sign this one, which is the book for the first film? And I want to give you something." And it gives me a frame of the bad guys, you know, kind of like looking at the camera kind of thing, like a very simple drawing, very cute. And it says, "Thank you," on that thing. And I'm like, "Oh, that's amazing, man. Thank you so much." And he's like, "Dude, you have no idea what you changed my mind. Wow. You changed my life." Like what that first movie did for me is like, you made me see something that I could do with my life and could do with myself, and just changed career, changed everything. I'm so happy now. That's the power that we have. Tarzan was that to me, you know, and I told Glenn that. I told him, like, "Dude, man, like, you have no idea, man, like how you impacted me." And it was not his movie. I actually ended up working with the director of Tarzan at Dreamworks, a close friend, and I told him, I was like, "Man, it's like full circle. Now I'm working for you. You made me want to do this job. You changed my life." That's the power of putting out something that is reaching so big, right? It's like some people will be very much impacted by what you do. And that's our responsibility, though. Our responsibility is to be honest about what we do, not be cynical, I think.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it more than wanting to say a message that is like, whatever it is, like, because now it can become really quickly preachy, and it can come across as a little fake sometimes, manufactured or whatever, you know, as opposed to letting the movie be, or the story or the song be what it wants to be, and people will extract whatever meaning they want out of that.
I'm going to rewind on something.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier, you used two phrases. Well, you mentioned tapping into source.
Yeah.
And you also said sometimes you just have to take a moment and do a little meditation. Uh-huh. Are these things you think about consciously on a daily basis, or is it part of your prepping yourself to get into that like transmission energy or whatever, or does it just happen when it happens?
I used to, because it's so intertwined with where mental state is at you know, any point in your life, I guess. There was a moment in my life where I was like, personal stuff happened, and I was going through a divorce with my ex-wife, and it was difficult, right? And so I had to implement those practices for me, which I was not very familiar with before that. I started to really just tap into a more spiritual life and just trying to understand and look beyond, at least turn inward and just like try to explore what's in there, you know, a bit more, which is, I mean, helped me get over all of this and just helped me, or made me become somebody much better and deeper and much multi-layered. And I mean, that's what the midlife crisis is about, right? I think that's what I'm talking about. But doing that work, right? Doing that personal work of just like rebuilding yourself to try to be a better person by knowing yourself better, by looking inwards, and just like once you've done all the stuff you're expected to do, you know, have babies and just have a career and all this stuff, and then you realize it's, oh crap, something's missing from me. And I think that was that part, right? Like, who am I? I think that really was that. Look inside, do some like soul searching, meditation, therapy, all this work, you know, some yoga, some sound baths, you name it, Burning Man, all of it. Like all of that stuff was there for a few years for me and helped me build a new part of me, right? I don't do it as much these days, and yet, anytime I feel stuck, I go back to that. To me, that's what it is. It's like I learned a practice there that I know is reliable, just to help me slow down, deep breath, reconnect, and be plugged in. And in a way, I wish it was like I wish I was like kind of like using it more as a routine thing. Somehow I'm like, it doesn't fit anymore in my, and I should make it fit. It doesn't fit as well in my everyday life, I guess. Like it's hard. It's like it's like, again, sometimes I'm like, it should be like brushing your teeth. It should be a non-negotiable, and you should do it every day. At the same time, the should is never great, right?
Right, exactly.
But I know that I can, rely back on this. So I do it a few times a week, but not every day. Like a few times a week. So I'm like, deep breath, close your eyes, take it in. All right, let yourself travel a little bit, and just like, all right, think of things, and just like clear your mind and tap into whatever just inspires you. Or if you have something you want to solve, put it in there. Let the thing do its work.
Is that more just for your personal state of mind, or is it like actually practical for work too?
Both.
I mean, like how does it filter into the work?
To
process?
The work?
Yeah.
I would literally be like, okay, there is this thing I'm trying to solve. I don't find the solution. I've been banging my head around that wall for like days now. Why is that? Because like I'm literally just like, is it because I'm using the same path over and over and over, and it's just like a robot that does this all the time, or am I not looking somewhere else? I'm like, and so it allows me, like when I do that, it allows me to look at a problem from a different angle, I guess. Sometimes I'm just like, let myself go and just like ask a question, and then somehow it's gonna come from, and then be like, oh my god, of course. Sometimes, like, have you heard of the Akashic records?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just go there and just like same thing kind of thing. Like,
so how do you do that?
I mean, it's a deep meditation where I was just like I think it's deep relaxation first, and then just like almost trying to just like visualize myself going like deep space, but like go far, the next nebula or whatever. That's how I do it. Like I'm visualizing this way, where I feel like I'm traveling far, where that's where they are, those things. Which I'm imagining a giant library of things, like godlike thing, whatever it is, giant. Like my imagination is quite vivid, actually.
I love it.
So, and once I'm there, I'm just like, I don't know, like imagining me like asking a question, and it just resonates in this vast space, and then wait for an answer. Sometimes it's quantum leaping. I love that too. Do you do that too? Do you know what it is?
Like jumping through time, you mean?
Quantum leaping is like the idea of like imagining yourself in a, like, let's say I want to be rich, whatever. I want to have millions of dollars, right? And you're like meditating onto who you would be if you had that money.
Oh.
And so you're putting yourself and seeing yourself, experiencing yourself from the outside, looking at yourself, be that rich person, see who you would be, how you would be, and then embracing that person and becoming one with that person.
Whoa.
Like all mentally, right? And it allows you, like, because you know how it is, right? You're tricking your mind to, it's fake it till you make it, right? That's what it is, right? Kind of thing. You're tricking your mind to be like, I'm rich. And one day you're going to be thinking that way, right? Or I'm talented, whatever it is. And I think that method kind of emulates that a little bit, makes you feel what it is to be. So for me, it was like, all right, I'm imagining myself being, what would be the house of my dreams, for instance. And then I'm imagining myself on a house I think for me it's kind of like a bit of a jungle, and it's a patio, and I'm having like beautiful like furniture, like wood furniture there, and it's like I'm having my coffee in my little white bathrobe, and it's amazing, and the birds are singing right there. It's like I have that image, right? And so you're just like, you quantum leap there, and you live that moment.
Oh wow.
It's very cool. I don't have that house. I might never have that house, but at least it just pushes you to aim toward that in a way, I think, subconsciously. You're like,
And is this just a personal belief, or did you train in it at all, or anything, or train in anything?
Train a little bit. I think it's. I mean, it's a known technique, right? So I've done a few little bit of training. I've been using for quite a bit of time an app called Mind Valley. I don't know if you heard of it.
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
And they have great training in there, like little programs. Because again, I think it was out of not feeling good in my life. I was like, I need something to help me see things differently, and that's always the case, right? You have like, you're asking for a solution, and then it's given to you. You just like, the only job you have to do is like know when to seize and know how to recognize that's your solution, that's your calling, that's not your calling, but your little sign, right? And seize that opportunity, right? Some synchronicity or whatever it is, but like sometimes I see it this way, where you put a little thing in the universe, and then it's going to manifest, and then but be alert, and then you'll see all of a sudden somebody is going to call you, something is going to happen on your email list or on your phone, like, and then you're like, oh, this interests me. That answers exactly what I thought about like a few weeks ago, whatever, 2 days ago or 3 days ago. That's the string, right? And then so that's what happened. I was like, dude, like I'm just like, I feel like so lost, and somehow an ad for that app showed up. And they were starting the app. I think it was just pretty recent. And I just looked into it, just like, dude, all this training of like life coaching and like meditation methods and many things, like, Tony Robbins style, right? But a bit more spiritual maybe than him. And I needed that. And so signed up, and then it's been amazing. It's been like, I've done a few of their, I mean, I don't use it as much these days, but I did a few of their kind of classes. It's like modules basically, but it takes you deep. So I learned a bunch of those techniques that way.
That's so cool. Yeah. I'm so interested beyond like personal development, which I'm also interested in, but beyond that, just
that's exactly right. Personal development. Yeah.
What's that?
That was personal. That's basically what it is. Personal development. Yeah.
I mean, of course, I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
And beyond that, as just like a geek, like a sci-fi geek, like the same instinct in me that loved The Matrix or whatever, just like part of me that wants to understand what consciousness is.
Yeah.
I've been so interested that there are all these theories that, that the government, like the CIA, has studied like remote viewing and like concepts of like that we actually can create reality through our consciousness, and all these holographic theories of how things exist and how we can shift through timelines or whatever. Like I find it very interesting that like they're not just purely esoteric, that there are actually like the military studying these things,
right.
Like the Russian military is really into this stuff, so it's like sort of serious hardcore science people are also looking into it, so that always for me is like an interesting sign, because I'm a weirdo who will just like believe in anything, but but when serious skeptics like start taking things like that seriously, it really is interesting to me.
Of course.
And then I was actually gonna say about it that when I saw The Matrix, because I love that you brought it up. When I saw The Matrix, I was young, and it was like, it blew my mind. I'd never really thought about, like, now everyone talks about The Matrix. It's like it's a catchphrase. How you said it's like coming to the collective subconscious. But when I saw that film, like, I'd never thought about those things. Maybe like deep down somewhere I had, but not in that sort of like organized fashion. And yet it made total sense to me. Mm-hmm. Like, it was not, like, I'd never heard it before, but it was not alien. It was like, whoa, that makes total sense, right? Something happened to me recently, which I was, it was interesting. It was like a very minor thing. It's not like some crazy magic thing, but it kind of like made me kind of think about some of this sort of quantum leapy type stuff that you're talking about, but in a very much more basic way. I was traveling. I was in Lisbon, and my phone died, and I was lost, and I was just walking, and I didn't know where the hell I was. And somehow I found my way back to my hotel.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And I literally took every correct street. And it wasn't like one straight line. It was
Right.
lots
Complex.
of complex ways. And I literally picked everything correctly.
Right.
And I was like, how the hell did that happen?
Uh-huh.
And I think it happened because kind of like of what you said, like subconsciously, I was probably imagining where I need to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And I was seeing myself there.
And it would drive you there.
And it was driving me there.
Autopilot.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I love that. It's interesting because like me and my partner were doing that a lot, where she's really good at it, like the idea of manifesting things, and I do that all the time, so kind of like more like subconsciously, and I think I've always operated this way in my life. I think everybody does, but in a very like flowing way for me. For her, she's been like working at it, but therefore what's interesting is that she really is conscious about it when she does it, and so recently she was like, she changed her career and she became she trained as a therapist, so now she's associate therapist, and she's gonna be licensed soon, and she's starting so as an associate therapist, you, in a private practice, you need to find somebody is willing just to mentor you, right? And so she was looking for that person. She wanted to do that as a private, as in a private practice. So she was looking for somebody, or like a practice that needed somebody like her. But she was like, I want to make sure that person is flexible. It's in the area. It's like she's focusing more on like couple therapy and then like single parenting kind of therapy. That person is like, we have the same way of looking at things and flexible with hours and like a list, like crazy list of things. And she's like, it's not complicated. I'm like, so are you gonna just like apply to things? And she's like, no, I just like put it in a list on a journal. It's gonna come.
Amazing.
Sure enough, I kid you not, 2 weeks later it was there.
Wow.
She does that all the time. And she was like, when we met, she was like, she was single for a while. And she was like, okay, who would be the man that I want to meet, and be spending the rest of my life with? Or like, list, like, I want this, Put that aside. A month later, we bumped into each other. It's like, exactly what I wanted. That's so crazy. But that's the thing that's manifesting, is exactly that. It's like you just have a very clear idea of what you want, put it in the universe, and then you just stay alert.
I had this crazy story.
It's crazy, man.
I mean, that is crazy.
Yeah, I love it so much.
I had this, it was on that NPR show, All Things Considered, a long time ago. This wasn't recently. But I heard this story, and I don't remember the exact details of it, but it was something about a woman who she wrote on a dollar bill, like some message on it in her handwriting. And she said to herself that when I meet a man who gives this dollar back to me, I'm going to marry him. And it happened.
Really? That's crazy. That's wild.
And she was like, randomly, like just like many, many years later, like, because money, imagine what that dollar bill, how it had gone into circulation. And then like 10 years later, she's like in a cafe somewhere or something. I don't know what the circumstance was, but the dollar ends up back in her hand and a guy gives it to her.
That's wild.
And she ends up like with him.
She ends up with him.
Yeah.
Jesus, that's insane. But I think that's what it is, right? There's like we do that all the time. I do that all the time for sure. Where I'm just like, I want this, and then you forget about it, and then it happens.
Yeah.
It all the time.
That forgetting about it is also
It's key.
part of the process.
It is a part of the process. You know, it obviously you need just like. It's not just like, oh, I want to have a Lamborghini, and then you're gonna have a Lamborghini. Why not? Actually, you could potentially do that. But I think you need to a little bit like guide your life towards. But I think what it does is like you're planting a seed that pushes you just to work towards that seed a little bit. But not necessarily just like hard work. It's like organizing your life around that idea, which is like favoring everything to happen that would happen to you just to get there, right? So that's what manifesting is. It's like you're really tricking your mind just to be like, all right, that's your goal now. Even though trying to forget about that, you forget about it, but like you oriented yourself towards that goal a little bit.
How do you, I mean, okay, so you must have thought about this because, you know, you've mentioned the Akashic records, you visualize yourself in a library, you've talked about quantum leaping. Mm. How do you think all this fits together? Like, what is actually going on?
Oh my God, like, I think that's way too deep now. I'm just like you mean inside of you? Or what do you mean?
Inside you,
like,
outside you?
Yeah.
Like,
is there a force? Is there something like organizing all of this? Is there some energies?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not even specifically saying God. Like, you know, it could be that, but I'm just saying, like, even like, for example, like the story I said about the dollar bill, or the story about your girlfriend, your partner, saying that she manifested like these qualities, and then you met, you know, like, or for example, like the inspiration that comes as an artist. Right. That touches you, and then you do something that touches someone else. It's sort of like a chain that happens, right? Like, what is that thread? How does that work?
Well, I'm going to tell you something that's so funny, because you're asking me those questions right now, right?
Yeah.
And a week ago, I was like talking with Ariel, like because we are very much like, we talk about this stuff a lot, right? And I was telling her, dude, like I just keep doing that back and forth between believing in something and not believing in something. So I'm listening to all these like super scientist stuff where it's like, no, like astrology and energy, like this kind of energy. No, it's not scientifically correct. It doesn't exist. It's just like, it's something that's made up that help us see things and facilitate things, probably, right? And then at the same time, just believing in this, in the journey of soul, and then in the idea of like a global, like, you know, energy there that we're all part of, and then we're all together in, and I constantly do that back and forth. And I think now I'm just really questioning, what do I believe in? Like, it's so weird. And now we're meeting, and you're asking me that question. See? So there's something, right? There is something. There is something where. I think a lot of it is obviously, you know, and this is also part of why religion existed at first, which is like explaining things we can't explain. It's also like, to me, it's tricking myself just to help make sense of things, and it's tricking myself to not make me afraid of what's coming up. I guess, you know, if you're saying everything is predestined, or you're predestined to do something, to be something, whatever, it's kind of out of your hands then. And in a way, it's like, all right, cool. I'm just like gonna let myself, and it works, by the way. That's the thing. It works when you do that. So, so you're like, it's a very easy way to just let go a little bit, and just like calm yourself down, just bring your stress down. Sometimes when you can be stressed, I think it's. I love that idea where it's just like, when I'm stressed, like, slow down, things are going to be fine. You're going to be okay. You have nothing to worry about. It's like, it's a simple way to trick your mind just to relax, basically, because we all have that little voice in there that tells you all the things you don't want to hear, how bad you are, and how all this stuff.
Do you really have that still?
No, well, not bad, but like you have moments where you're like, oh, today you suck, you're so, and the next day you're like, oh my God, you're so good today. It's like that little thing that's always there, so like constantly talking, right? And we all have that. And by the way, it doesn't necessarily talk to you or not. It's just like, it's a chatter, right? And sometimes you're like, just shut up. Just like, you know what I mean? And when you're an artist, you're also like that thing is always saying things where it's just like, oh, think about this and da, 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 da. And sometimes like, did you think about like, oh, by the way, you need to do your taxes today, and then did you send that document, did you answer that email, oh, by the way, oh, for your movie, you think, oh, what if that character was doing this? It's always there, and I'm sure it's the same for you. It's the same for everybody, right?
It is. That's what I was saying before about when I was EQing that kick
EQing
drum.
that thing. It's like,
It's
exactly.
like I remember all those
things at the same time. It's
Yeah.
like it's constantly there. So sometimes it's just like a good way of like filtering through the noise and be like, oh, by the way, just that paperwork you haven't done, this thing you haven't done, da, 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 all these like dozens of things that you should be doing. Okay, they're important. But there's also not just that, just live to, just like, and you don't need to panic about this all the time, because some people do. And sometimes I do. Everybody's sometimes like, oh shit, I'm just so stressed about it. But it is a way to filter through that, I think, to also calm yourself down. I think I've lost a little bit the thread of what we were talking about. But like, what do you make out of all this? I don't know, man. It's like when you start looking inside and like you just discover that crazy world, like it's so vast and so big. It's a very interesting. I don't know if I have an answer really. Like I really don't know. At some point, again, I've been like, I was, by the way, I was raised and I don't know if it's atheist. Basically, my parents were like, nah, like. We like really, if we were in a church, it was really just to visit, to see the building and the and the glasswork and the windows and whatnot. How could you call those?
Stained glass.
The stained glass windows. When I got married, we got married in a church with my wife because her family was more like, and I didn't believe any of it, And then we got divorce, and it was just like hard for me and hard for her, hard for all of us. I need to go just deeper. Started believing in something, not a God necessarily, but maybe the universe, which is it a God? Is it like, what is it? A force, something, an energy, like tapping into that. So I think spirituality came in there at this point. So now I'm not religious, clearly not, but I'm not an atheist. I'm agnostic. I'm something there that I believe something exists. Also believe deeply in science and believe just in like, I believe in science deeply, in the universe, in this. But again, if you look at the size of the universe, you look at everything, all the phenomena that made us happen and the chances that we are who we are now. It's like winning the lottery. And there's like way worse than the lottery, by the way. It's like the one chance out of, I don't even know the numbers, but it's insane, right? Trillions. And we're here. Isn't that some kind of magic? You know what I mean? Like, and yet it's just numbers, right? It's just pure coincidence. But there's magic in that coincidence. So I think it's like, I don't even know, man. Like, it's just like it's. I believe in both, and I'm really torn every time I bounce between the two. That's where I am right now. At some point, I was like, none of that exists. It's just science. Then I was like, no, I believe in like reincarnation and all this stuff. And now I'm like, yeah, I'm just like, no, like, like the moon in Taurus, like whatever. And I'm not sure that exists, and I don't believe in it. But at the same time, I want to believe in it because it's beautiful and magical and poetic,
But I actually think astrology has probably more science to it than people might imagine. I mean, I'm not saying this is for sure true, but I feel like, how our bodies are like so much water, like 90 something percent made of water, and like how, the moon affects women's cycles, and like, biologically we are, the chemicals in our body move with the planets. So we know that, like, by science,
Right. Well, if you listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's going to tell you it's bullshit. So,
but the cycles of the moon and the tide. And
the cycles of the moon, yes, but the impact that it has on your body is negligible.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
that's why I'm like, It's him, like, and I'm like, oh, okay, right, okay, sure. At the same time, I'm like, I want to believe in this. It's also
but the thing
so
is,
cool,
here's the thing: is he's a scientist, but he's not a biologist, right? And one of the things I was wondering, and obviously I'm not a biologist either, so I'm not saying that obviously I know better than him, but the thing I was wondering was that when you're born, like the physical location of where you're born
Right.
and time, I wonder if the magnetism and the forces of gravity and just like the proximity of where you are on the Earth relative to, the other planets in our solar system, I wonder if they affect the very first neuron that forms in your brain, like the first thought that you have.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then if that's the case, then maybe your personality builds out of that first.
But to me, I live with twins, identical twins,
Oh,
born same place, same time.
Yeah.
And they're so different.
yeah.
So it's like, and I want to believe in it. Trust me, I want to believe in it. And I'm like, and this is why I'm saying I'm like so in between things where I'm like, and it's kind of nice because you're like, it allows you to be like, yeah, today I want to believe it because it helps me. And tomorrow I'm like, nah, that's bullshit. I want to do, so I'm doing a lot of that back and forth, because there's something so magical about the idea that, there's something after death, for instance. And it's just like magical because it helps you not fear it, right? And be eager, not eager in the sense that I don't want to die, that's not the question, but eager in the sense of like, oh, now I'm curious to know what's after that.
Oh my God. I mean,
Right?
I would love to
know.
I'm dying to know.
I'm dying to know, exactly. You want to know, and then if there's something there, awesome.
Yeah.
Science doesn't say that. Science is like, no, you're just a bunch of atoms and then or molecules, and then you're gonna die, and then that's it. It's the end. But one is like a lot less scary than the other. So you know what I mean? So
But science also shows that particles have direction. They have something that looks like consciousness, like they have a will to go.
Yeah, potentially, yeah, that's
You
true.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not just randomly.
Yeah.
And there's attraction between charges, and particles move towards each other and then separate and form molecules or, atoms or whatever, So I don't want to sound like I don't know what I'm talking about. But
Well, we're speculating a lot, but to me, what's fascinating though is that we are made out of stardust, literally.
Oh, tell me about that.
Yeah, this is what we are. Like,
How are we like I've heard people say that, but how are we made from stardust?
the universe, right?
Oh yeah.
And the way the planet was built, and
Yeah.
that we're built from the same element this planet was built from,
Oh yeah.
right? This is stardust.
Carbon,
Period.
hydrogen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Stardust. And there's more. What's the thing? There's more molecule in one breath of air that you take
Whoa.
than breath of air there is in the whole atmosphere.
What?
Okay, so
How does that work?
if you when you breathe air,
Yeah.
there's I don't know the numbers by the way, but the amount of molecules of air,
Uh-huh.
O2,
Yeah.
oxygen, right, that you go in your lungs. There are more of those than there are breath of air, like I don't know, like half a liter or whatever, a liter and a half, whatever, in the entire atmosphere.
Whoa. That's insane.
Yeah, it's insane. So the air that you breathe has been probably breathed in by every human being before you.
Wow. Wow, that's wild.
Isn't it wild? It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, that's the thing. The universe is magical too. There's some magic there. There's some like in the numbers and in the vastness of it. There's something like godlike. And that's what it is. I think that's what it is. Like there's something that you're looking at this, and just the magic of it is so big and so hard to understand, to comprehend, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's moments in music, where, like, especially when I study classical music,
Yeah.
like there's geometrical things happening.
Of course.
That like it's so crazy. Like, why does this sound so good? You know, and then I start breaking it down in my mind, like, you know, what's actually going on with frequency, because that's what notes and harmony is. It's just like frequency and repetitions of itself at different like
level to the layers.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like some things sound awful and some things sound fantastic, and it's like, what is that actually representing? You know, it's like there's a geometry in there. It all comes down to some kind of like system that can be charted, and that really blows my mind, because some of those things actually exist in nature. Those patterns and stuff. You know,
those ratios and it's true.
It's wild.
Have you ever cried listening to music?
Oh, obviously.
Of course, yeah. What was the last time that I did? I think it was went to a concert. It was at the Bowl, and it was for Osier.
Oh yeah.
And I somehow knew a few of his songs, not much. The most famous ones. Somehow just thought that he was like African American guy, because he got that voice, right? Particularly the "Take Me to Church" song, right? Where somehow it's very gospel, like very much of a gospel there. Basically, I didn't know him, right? Besides a few songs, and my girlfriend is like, "Yeah, he's coming at the Bowl. I love him. We should go see him." It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. You know, it's just like, well, okay, cool. And then we go there, and the Bowl is pretty magical anyway, regardless. You know, I love that venue so much. And all of a sudden, that guy who's like 2 meters high, who's like redhead, curl, long hair, comes on stage and starts singing. And I'm like, and the most amazing voice and the most amazing music, just like the charisma of the guy. It was like, honestly, it was like guru style. I was like, I spent the whole an hour and a half like Joe, like tears in my eyes and being like, who are you, man? It was a magical.
Wow.
I remember, like, it was like transcending experience.
Wow.
Amazing. I mean, like, there's many others though, like somehow, and I think it was a combination of like how talented he is and the lyrics that he has and the amazing voice that he's got, with how unexpected it was for me. Like I didn't see that coming. In my head I was like, you know, when you go see a film and you got like everybody's like, yeah, this is not that great a movie, and then all of a sudden you find it amazing because you had low expectations. I had low expectations. That's it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I got that guy who's like more than amazing. I was what a fascinating moment.
Wow, I love that hit you so deep.
Hit me so deep, yeah.
Because based on it, also now everything we've been talking about, like I'm imagining that this is going to live with you, and it's going to find its way of expressing itself in what you do in somewhere down the line.
Well, that's what happens, right? You just receive and you give back and you rearrange those experiences to make it your own. It's just like be able to give it back at some point. You know, we're all creators somehow, right? You and I are lucky because we have, you know, we have a funnel through which we can really put out our work. But everybody's a creator, right? You just like, you cook something, you build something, whatever it is, like you create something. We're really good at that as humans, really, really good at that. So yeah, it's quite cool. And we were talking earlier, before we started the podcast, about the idea of an industry. You know, there's still something interesting about that. Sure, it is like turns into a big industry, but there's still something. I was thinking about it the other day, where I'm like, we're in a system that helps artists to put their work out. Sure, it's been altered through the process by many voices, but still there is like organizations, industries that allow some artists to put out their work, and of course allow other people just to benefit from their work financially. But it's still putting out the work, curating and putting out the work, right? There is I don't know why I'm talking about that, but it's the idea that we as humans organize and treat art as an entertainment, as big as it is, as food industry, is also how much we care about it, how much we need it, right?
Yeah, for sure. It is interesting because, like, I was having a conversation recently with someone who's a very tech forward person.
Yeah.
And he was like talking to me about how amazing technology has impacted music, how like anyone can make anything and put it on Spotify, and I was like, that's not actually, like, yeah, it's kind of cool, but like actually, like at the time, for me, the A&R guys who are like essentially like development executives in the music world, for me they were like the devil. But like now I'm like, wow, like I miss those A&R guys because they were people who cared. Like,
and
okay,
curated stuff.
They curated stuff, put their business things
of course.
away. Like, yeah, some of them behaved in ways that weren't the best, but at the bottom of it, they all did what they did because they cared about the music.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's really true in the same way.
But now it's the Wild West, isn't it?
It's the Wild West.
40% of Spotify is AI now, apparently.
Right, exactly.
I mean, not 40% of Spotify. 40% of what's being put on Spotify now,
right,
is AI generated. It's a little scary. I mean, I'm sure there's good stuff in it. But that's okay. Let's talk about that. That's interesting because the other day I was like, I fall into this. It's an AI, not a label, but like a channel on Spotify called Red Village. Have you heard of them?
No.
What they do is like they remix songs, contemporary songs, into like 1950s blues or gospel or soul or whatever. And dude, I was listening to it was like Lose Yourself, Eminem. Like remade through AI in style of black blues gospel. Well, I can't remember exactly and it was like my jaw dropped. It was like amazing.
Yeah.
Like so well done. I was like, but then I was like, but dude, at the heart of this is the lyric from a guy.
Exactly.
Is the lyrics the most amazing lyrics from one of the greatest musician or rapper on the planet, who would never have been able to write these lyrics without his entire life experience and everything he went through to be able to put these words on paper and then sing them the way he does. That thing just took this, used math to just create like, pre-established type of music that they know. We've had recordings of this forever, but at the core of it is still human.
Right.
It's still the magic of somebody who wrote this. And by the way, therefore, it's just a version of that song. It's not anything new.
Right.
Right? And I was like, yes, it's beautiful, but it's not creative. That makes sense?
It makes 100% sense. I mean, actually, this is why, personally, I'm not scared of AI. And
right.
I actually feel like one of the things that has been happening in music and in film and in many areas is that we have been behaving like robots for a while and, doing things by like data science. Let's figure out what's popular. Let's figure out like, you know what I'm saying? And just, in the 60s and 70s, like that. It wasn't like that. You know, like when George Lucas made Star Wars, he wasn't making a blockbuster.
It was here.
It was here, right?
Yeah.
And I think AI is going to bring that back because I think the only value that an artist is going to be able to have is to be able to actually draw on that font of inspiration that cannot be defined
from their experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And can't be predicted by a machine.
No, you're totally right. Yeah, you're totally right. I think ultimately, I mean, generative AI for sure will be used in like, for professionals at least, I think in very part of the process, but like creatively generating creative, like from the ground up, I don't think it's going to be a help to get better and faster or bigger or whatever, but I don't think it will be like the creative source.
Yeah, and I've also like, you know, in the DJ world, for example, you know, like long before the AI that we have now, the technology has existed for at least 10 years to get rid of a DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Like things can be mixed so easily with a computer, but people still want the DJ, you know?
Of course. Have you seen that video the other day of, it just came out, like it's a model, AI model from China, and it shows Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise fight.
I saw that.
You saw
that?
that?
Yeah.
So imagine a movie like this.
Yeah.
But it's just AI.
Yeah.
Do you care about this?
No.
No. You want to see them to actually do the thing.
Right.
You don't care that it's been generated.
Exactly.
Nobody gives a shit. Nobody wants to see that.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to see that for sure. I'm like, no, I want to see Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise act and do the real thing and have somebody film them. That's what interests me. I want to see their real emotion. If it's just been like manufactured, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of the entertainment factor right now is that it's new.
It's new, yes,
it's the
exactly.
Wow, look at that.
Look
you know?
what it can do.
Look what it can do.
Yeah, exactly.
But if that's just normal,
yeah.
I mean, it's like the internet was the same thing. It's like you never go online, you never go on Amazon and go, wow, what an incredible thing that you just order what you need, you know. But the first week that you were able to do that in the history of the world, you're like, wow,
yeah, exactly,
right,
exactly, yeah.
So,
like the first CG movie that came out was Toy Story or whatever. I was like, what the hell is this? You know, it's amazing. Like, it's that new thing, and now it's everywhere. You're like, all right, cool. It's just a different form of making, you know, and it just opened so much more just for designing, for video games, for, you know, special effects, for like CG is everywhere, right?
Exactly.
When it came out, it was like, oh my God, it's gonna kill everything and replace everything. It's just no, it's just another way to do something, you know.
Has this factored into like how you are thinking about what you're going to do next or in the future? Or
What does?
Like AI?
No, I mean, no. Like right now, it's like pure just creating and writing and actually going back to source, basically. Going back to like the very simple act of drawing inspiration from writing things, drawing things, talking with people, going on like research and not trying to go to a solution too quickly, just letting myself just wander around because I'm just creating something new. Just like feel into it and just like, oh, do I like this? Do I want this? Try this and da-da-da. Pure creative act. Just amazing. Exploring and playing. Will AI impact some of the making of it? Maybe, probably a little bit. To what degree? I have zero idea. Sometimes I would be like, ChatGPT help me with this, and it would just help me, you know, find a name for whatever, you know, or. But there's no. Oh, I've played a little bit, you know, creating some images. I can't control it. It's terrible. You know, like, I mean, it does great images, but it's like, no, it's not what I have in my head. Just like, okay, now I do a sketch. It's like, yeah, that's what I want.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now I can just do the sketch and say, hey, can you make color to this? Add color to this. It's going to do it faster than I can. I don't know how to do it well yet. Maybe I will. But now if I do this and say, hey, give that to my art director or whatever, they're going to do it and they're going to do it their way. And it's going to be like, oh, that's exactly what I want. You know, it's so weird, right? So you can't really control it. I'm sure some of the processes will be evolving and then we're going to use some of those texts. But to get, probably to be faster and to get like more more on screen, I guess, you know. But I'm not really thinking about it right now. Yeah.
Can you talk about what you're developing or thinking about?
I can't really talk much about it because it's so early, right? It's not Dreamworks. And again, like it's so early that there's chances still because we're in development. The way it works in movies is like you develop something and sometimes it never happens. So not that I want this movie to happen, but
We quantum leap it.
or quantum leaping, let's say it happens. It's a sci-fi movie.
Amazing.
And it is a little bit like Wall-E. Not with robot, but like very, very. The first part of the film is basically no dialogue, which is very exciting.
Wow, amazing.
Amazing, yeah. And it has very immersive. I'm trying to get a very immersive experience on an alien planet.
Oh wow, wow, that is incredible.
It's super cool. So it really should be. You feel like you're there. Like, have you seen Flow last year?
No, I didn't see it.
I didn't see it. That's a great film. Avatar, of course, is like, but Avatar is very much like a war film. Like it is, like it's very, but there's something that I mean, I love Cameron and I love what he does. It's like who doesn't love him in a way, like respect for what he does. Like it's quite impressive,
incredible.
Obviously incredible, but the realism he's able to bring and the immersivity he's able to bring to his movies and to Pandora by spending the time. And that's what I'm trying to do with this one, is just spend the time a little bit more. Dreamworks movies are usually very fast and very talky. I'm trying to go away from that.
Wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
See, it's animated, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
See, that's kind of like, it's kind of going back to something I was saying earlier. Like, I feel like animation gives the space for that.
To do that, yeah.
I mean, it's still rarer than the action is more, but it's like in live action, the only time I ever see that space is in TV, really.
Right. Yes. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Because TV gives you the long format, right? But no, for this movie, it's like, can I spend the time? Can I not be rushed? Can I just like let us experience this world with our characters and do something that we haven't seen really from this studio? I mean, actually from a bunch of studios here, that we tend to always be too fast and too slow down a little bit and just like take it in, and just be immersed in this world. I'm fascinated by it. Like right now, I'm like, and I think it just goes back to what we were talking about, like shaking things up and making something very different from what we've done so far at DreamWorks. Very different from Bad Guys for sure. Very, very different. Just completely different direction and world and all of that. And stretching a completely different part of myself.
Wow, that's so exciting.
I'm super, super pumped.
Wow.
It's very, very cool. So, a lot needs to happen for it to be on screen, but like that's where I'm that's my day to day right now, just living and bathing in that world and spending the time to just really just take it in and create and be immersed in it and just have fun, really have fun,
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yes, amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's a good place to end it.
Dude, thank you so much, man.
Dude, thank.
What a pleasure. What a pleasure.
That was amazing.
That was super cool.
Yeah.
Are we one? Are we infinite? Are we 10?